So, as I promised, I'm going to walk through the invoice example that we worked on in class. And this invoice was, it's just a standard invoice that I created. I gave the company a name, CS610 Incorporated, but it could have been any invoice, really. So if I were to have to approach this, and someone told me I need to store the information in this invoice in a database, I think the first thing that I would do is I would look at all of the pieces of data that could be present on the invoice, and I'd make a list, just a very simple list. So here's the invoice on the left, and my list, I'm just going to put my list on the right as I come up with different items, data items that I might have. So I'm going to start at the top and work my way down, and I'm just going to make a list. So the first thing I see is invoice number. Then I see invoice date and customer ID, and I see an address. I see a bill to address, and I see a ship to address. And under the bill to address, I have a street, address 1, street address 2, and a city, a zip, and state, sorry. And likewise for the ship to address, I have the exact same information. That should set off some triggers in your mind. So now, just cleaning this up. So now we keep moving, and I have a date here. Now it looks as though this could be the order date. So I'm just going to put that in the middle, in the preceding the date. There's an order number, your order number, and there's our order number. Sorry. And then there's a sales rep. We'll skip the FOB. I mean, we can put it in there, but it's not necessary. Ship via, terms, tax ID, quantity. Now the quantity is more than likely it's the quantity of the item being ordered. So item quantity, item, units, description, discount percent, taxable, and unit price, total, subtotal, tax, shipping, miscellaneous, balance due, and we'll just skip the remittance section for now, just because I think we have enough to work with here. Now, the second thing I would do is looking at this in the context of an invoice. So a little bit of thought needs to get put into, all right, well, this is an invoice. So an invoice, the purpose of an invoice is to provide both the customer and the organization or the company that's selling some record that a sale was made. And it also kind of serves as a contract for, how much the customer will agree to pay the company for whatever goods and services the company has provided. So That said, we look at the invoice again and we say, okay, so invoices are, represent an order that was made. So maybe we have a set of categories that we come up with, things that fit into certain categories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a title up here for these are our data items. And I'm just going to make that large. And then down here, I'm going to put a section for categories that these data items might fall into. So here's my categories here. So one category might be order. We have orders that are placed. Another category might be customer, because customer information is clearly being put into this form. Another category might be products, because products are represented here as items. And then another category might be employees, because we have a sales representative who may represent an employee. So let's put employees down. Actually, this would be orders, customers, products, employees. And then there's some fields here that are calculated. And so what I'm going to do is just create a category called calculated. And that may or may not yield itself into a, or morph itself into a table in a database per se, but I want to be able to kind of account for all of the different fields on this invoice. So now that I have some categories, I'm just going to try to get it to all fit on one page here, but I don't think I'm going to be lucky. What I can do is just make a 2-column page here. Okay, so here we have our data items and categories. So now I want to actually categorize each of my data items. And there we go. So under invoice, an invoice number is really related to the order. All orders have an invoice number. So maybe this category is orders. And I'm just going to use or actually I can't. Yeah, I'm just going to use O, C, P, and E. And then calculated, I'll just do something else with. So this is, whoops, that's not supposed to happen. Just so that we don't have to type as much. In calculated, I'll just make a star so that we know that calculated fields are represented by a star. So invoice is in order. So let's put an O next to it. Invoice date is also related to an order. So I'm going to put an O next to it. Now customer ID is more than likely related to a customer. So I'll put a C next to that one. Now customers have addresses, but there's 2 different addresses listed here. So if I could have a customer, an address for a billing and a shipping address both listed with one customer, but that might not be the best way to do it. So what I'm going to do is create yet another category called address. And I'm just going to put this information in as address information. And we'll get to this, we'll get in more detail in a moment. Now order date relates back to the order. So Let's put that there. Order number is also related to an order. Your order number, our order number, not really sure what that means. So employees, sales reps are employees. FOB is probably some kind of invoice number or a billing order, like a sort of a purchase order. So maybe we put that under orders. And it may require that you go and research what some of these things mean. So ship via, that would be like FedEx or UPS. So maybe we actually have another category, because we haven't taken this into account, called shipping. So ship via is here. Now terms are the terms of, probably terms of payment. So this may be part of the order, because that's where you would put that type of information. Now tax ID could also be part of the order for the sake of argument. Now item quantity, that is something that's specific to an order, but item is not specific to an order. Items can be listed on many different orders. It doesn't have to be on a single order. So we're going to put that in the products category. Units is the number of units that's being, the number of units per item. So in that case, we're going to, that's actually part of the product description. So we'll put that under products. And description is also a product specific thing. Discount percent, now this could go anyway, but we're going to call it part of the order, because maybe there's a different percent, different discount put on different orders. We're not sure. Or maybe this is part of the product, actually, to be fair. Is it taxable? That's also very product specific. Unit price is product specific. It's not going to change per order. And the total, subtotal, tax, shipping, etc., that's all done at the time of sale. So it really depends on all of the things that we've filled out above. So these are calculated fields. So I'm going to put a star next to those. Okay. So these are calculated. And so now we've basically gone and we have categorized all of these items. So now the next step I'm going to take is I'm actually going to just kind of break these and put them with all the like items with each other. So all the O's will go with the O's here, and so on and so forth. So I think I got all the O's. The E's, that's employees. The S's has to do with the shipping. There's a lot of product related things, so we'll just, we can actually just leave them where they are, because they're all already kind of bunched up together. So here are the products, and then the calculated fields. So you can kind of see some data starting to come out of this. And it looks like we may have some tables kind of forming as a result of what we've just done. So here we have the invoice. All of this stuff is related to an order. We have a customer here. Now there could be relationships between the customer and the address. There could be relationships between the order and the sales rep. or the order in the shipping, or the product in the order, or the order in the customer. So there's several different ways that we can approach this, but this is mainly the first step in trying to define how you want to structure your data in the database. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that this invoice may not be the only thing that you're using the data for. So it's really important to not only just to look at this invoice, but if you were in a situation where you were presented this invoice, you may want to ask, what the bigger picture is with respect to this invoice. Like, are there other business operations that happen that may have an impact on this invoice, or items that might be listed in the invoice? So it's never the full story just to be given a form and told to be put this in the database. There's usually more to the story than that. So it's important to understand the business, the context of what you're being asked, and what all of the data means. So that's my approach to how I would break this data out. And hopefully this is a good start for you to start mapping this into a data model.